coffee as a habit itself, she says, is not necessary for life. It causes more harm than the apparent joy and pleasure which you derive from the act of coffee drinking. So that is a totally philosophical approach to life which I respect. So that has to be kept in mind. But coming to the closer point of the clinical effect of coffee on patients taking homeopathic medicine, incidentally, even decaffeinated coffee has slightly only 10% less caffeine than tea. It does have caffeine. Decaf is not totally decaf. So, and cocoa, like I said, has as much caffeine in it almost as tea. And children take more of cocoa than all adults put together, and in spite of that, our homeopathic medicines work. Is it not? And then Bonvita kudikada, Boost kudikada, Boost is the secret of my energy in varam. So, that work agudhu. Adnala, ipo caffeine mattum dana, illa idhula irukra innum vera idu irukku. When you see the diet restrictions imposed by Hahnemann for acute diseases, he said give whatever the patient wants. Only for chronic diseases, he advises all these yes and no. And as far as restrictions go, whether it is coffee, tea or any other food article, if you see anybody writing on it from Hahnemann to Bönninghausen and beyond, you will find that whatever was socially acceptable in their culture was generally allowed. And what was alien to their culture was generally restricted. If you go to the northern parts of India, you will find that most of the homeopathic doctors are advising the patients not to use tamarind in the food. Tamarind. Here, if we say that, nobody will come to it. And what are you going to eat? Kappa kalanja and kanji, that's all. Nothing else you can eat where there is no medicinal value. So to that extent, we, I think, are underestimating the powers of our own homeopathic medicine. It works far better than we think. It cannot be just subdued by the effects of certain things which we are using day to day in our life. This is one thought I am putting open for all of us. Now let us see what the repertorium has to say about this. What rubrics are there for and against coffee? Dr. Bhuvneshwari.
So actually this question raised when Hahnemann has written, as previous speaker said, he has written the treatise on the effects of coffee. This has been written in 1803, but actually speaking, these effects of coffee, it depends whether it is positive or negative, depending upon the amount of caffeine. Effect depends upon the amount of caffeine. This caffeine is an alkaloid. Actually, this has been discovered by German chemist Friedrich Reich in 1819. Okay, before this only Hahnemann has written about the treatise on the effects of coffee, and that is why we are still discussing about that. So before going to whether the coffee antidotes or not, what I feel is first we should know what this caffeine actually does. So what is the effects of coffee in the normal healthy subjects, and what are the positive effects and negative effects on human. So in previous days, as already said by the moderator, it depends upon the type of method or preparation method of the coffee, and that is depending upon the type of coffee bean and method of preparation used. And in those days, it has been taken in a raw form, but it has been found that this dark roast coffee which we are using now is less caffeine than what has been previously used. So it again depends upon the method of preparation. And while discussing about this coffee, it is practically very difficult. So we are discussing in a room whether this antidote or not. But practically speaking, when we are facing the patients, and most of them, so I don't want to commit anyone, so you see, most of the Brahmins, my patients are, most of them are Brahmins. So they are hardly in need of coffee. So in those cases, it is very difficult to manage them. If you are saying that if you don't drink coffee, as the previous speaker said, they will first withdraw the treatment. So it is very difficult practically to ask them to discontinue coffee. So this coffee depends upon how much quantity you take, whether the long continued or overuse and chronic abuse of coffee only is going to create a problem. So if you are taking in a mild dose, that is less decoction, and you can allow your patient to continue. So what I feel in my practice is, I allow my patient, if they say that I am not able to survive without taking coffee. So most of the patients are mine are actually Brahmins. So they say that I want to take a coffee. If I'm not taking coffee, then I feel that all the symptoms as same as it is or aggravated. So it is depend upon the quantity we are using. So we can avoid the patient. That is, if you are able to avoid, you discontinue, or is it not possible, we ask them to take in the small doses, not as a chronic user. Because this, and again this America, they have said and they recommended that this US Food and Drug Administration, they list that caffeine as a multiple purpose generally recognized as safe food substance, and most of the 90% of the Americans, they are dependent on the coffee. And it also has been said that this global consumption of caffeine has been estimated at 12 lakh tons per year. So I think it's very difficult to, if you are asking our patient to completely stop the coffee, it is very difficult in practically speaking. And before that, what I want to say here is, we should know the metabolites of the caffeine. So some of the speakers, they say you can allow your patient to take medicine, it is 1 hour before and after. So for that, this metabolism of caffeine takes place in the liver, and it has been said that this off-life elimination of this caffeine in a normal health is approximately 4 hours. So elimination is 4.9 hours, that is around 4 hours, and it has been said that it takes more time if the lady is under the oral contraceptives, and in the pregnant women and in the children. And it is said in liver disease, this increase in the off-life up to 96 hours. So what they say in the research is, especially in case of the liver diseases, you should advise your patient that you should completely restrict the coffee. In liver diseases and those persons who are taking oral contraceptives, in pregnancies and in the small children, because this off-life elimination of this caffeine from this is, it takes very long duration, especially in the liver disease. Definitely you should advise your patient to, that is, stop or completely reduce the coffee. That is definitely going to inhibit the action of the medicine. As Sir said me as a repertorian, so I am hardly saying the rubrics. In Murphy repertory, it is given coffee aggravation. In Murphy, in his chapter, that is the Cantharis, Causticum, Chamomilla, Ignitia, Naxomica, these drugs are given, but for it is effective, is only practically we should verify that. But universal antidote, Naxomica, can be used in these type of the cases. So apart from this coffee, it is very interesting to know that this coffee is also having some of the positive effects. That is, it reduces the risk of getting the Alzheimer's disease, and it also, drinking coffee reduces the risk of Parkinson's disease, and this reduces the getting the gallstone disease, because it is a laxative and diuretic. So it says that regular, that is not in overdose. Not in overdose. This consumption of the coffee to some extent has been found in the research. It reduces the risk of the gallstone disease. So it should not be mistaken that I am recommending the patient to drink coffee, but it also has some of the positive effects. We should also aware of that. And it also said that it improves the short-term memory. You can improve the short-term memory because it also increases the oxygen carrying, antioxidant, and improves the oxygen carrying capacity. So it can be used as a short-term. And these are the positive effects is also present. So practically speaking, as the previous speaker said, I also used in some of the cases when it is found that the aggravation is only due to the medicine, I recommended coffee, but not in all cases. while treating whether this coffee antidote the homeopathic medicine. So practically speaking, when it is a large doses, that is what I found, and chronic uses, it has been found that it antidotes. But others in small doses and taking a cup of tea or coffee per day, it is allowed to some extent, because practically we cannot say all the patient to completely stop this habit. So practically, I think in all the cases it is very difficult, and especially in case of the liver disease, as said by the research, we can think of to reduce the coffee to some extent. Thank you, sir.